On the night Daenerys Targaryen was born, the gods themselves seemed to weep. A violent storm battered the shores of Dragonstone, and her family's kingdom had crumbled into ash. The Targaryens, once rulers of the Seven Kingdoms, were now nothing but whispers of a broken dynasty. Daenerys grew up in exile, a fragile girl under the cruel shadow of her brother Viserys, a man consumed by his obsession with reclaiming the Iron Throne. To him, Daenerys was nothing more than a pawn, a tool to rebuild the Targaryen legacy. Sold like cattle to the mighty Khal Drogo of the Dothraki, Daenerys was thrust into a savage world. At first, she was powerless, a frightened girl among warriors, but deep within her burned the fire of her ancestors. She began to rise, not as a pawn, but as a queen. And then, the miracle. In the ashes of despair, Daenerys emerged unburnt, cradling 3 dragons, the first seen in centuries. From that moment, she was no longer a girl. She was Daenerys Stormborn, the mother of dragons, the breaker of chains, and the unburnt. Her dragons grew, as did her power. She freed thousands from chains, breaking the backs of tyrants and building an army of the devoted. But with power came choices, and with choices came blood. For every act of justice, there was a price. Her fire, once a beacon of hope, became a tool of fear. Yet she pressed on, believing she was destined to build a better world, a world that only she could create. At long last, Daenerys returned to Westeros, ready to reclaim the throne that was her birthright. She brought fire and blood, and for a moment, victory seemed certain. But the Game of Thrones is a dangerous one, and alliances are as fragile as dragon glass. Loss consumed her. The whispers of betrayal, the deaths of her closest friends, and the weight of her destiny began to take their toll. In her darkest hour, she chose fire, not for justice, but for vengeance. As the city burned, so too did the dream of a just queen. Daenerys had become the very thing she sought to destroy, a tyrant cloaked in flame. She had won. The throne was hers. But as she stood on the precipice of her greatest triumph, her fate was sealed by love and betrayal. In the end, it was not swords or armies that defeated Daenerys, but a single act of heartbreak. Her dream ended in blood as Drogon carried her lifeless body into the unknown skies. The tale of Daenerys Targaryen is one of triumph and tragedy, of hope and destruction. She was a girl who rose from the ashes, only to be consumed by the very flames she wielded. She was the last dragon, and like her kind, her fire burned brightly, too brightly to last.